Hi there, Shortcuts. Here we have video 2 for Wednesday, March 13th. Price list will go out 9 p.m. sharp Wednesday evening Sydney time. If you would like to be on the price list, or on the email list that is, drop me a note, shortcutsrecordsaus@gmail.com. This is the classic rock and pop list, and it is jam-packed full of classic rock and pop. All right, I had to think long and hard about where to begin, and I have actually decided to begin here. This is the Japanese first press of Some Girls, the Rolling Stones. I think it was 1978. This controversial, elaborate sleeve that had the kind of these spaces, and then here you can see Raquel Welch and Brigitte Bardot and others with these woven, weird Rolling Stones, almost hellish images. It became a bit of an issue in the UK. The record was re-released with a lot of those celebs removed because they didn't get permission. So there you go. And, you know, the back is the Stones. So what do you get on this record, though? This record is probably the record that has gone through, maybe other than Exile, the most dramatic critical reevaluation in some respects. It did get some good reviews at the time. I know the Rolling Stone liked it. It was follow-up to Black and Blue, and it's only rock and roll. And it is very much a return to their rock and roll roots. The first record that Ronnie Wood played as a full-time member, and the first, which I kind of hard to believe in the research I was doing, the first since Let It Bleed that primarily featured the band and not a swathe of other performers like Billy Preston and others. So this was, you know, the core group, you know, Charlie and Bill and I guess Ronnie, Keith, and Mick, and it is really cut down. And what was fun, I went to the Newtown Record Festival. I had a stall there last Sunday, and there was a young hipster who was looking through my records, and he paused on Exile on Main Street, which is my favorite of theirs, and he said, I really don't like this record. And I said, oh, I just assumed that meant he just didn't like the Rolling Stones. So I said, you're not a Stones fan? And he went, no, I like the Stones. My favourite Stones record is Some Girls. Which I expressed shock to him. I was like, really? And he went, yeah, it's great. So there you have it. Japanese first press of Some Girls, Rolling Stone. It has made its way into maybe not the top echelon, but the lower echelon of a bunch of those lists of the 500 greatest records of all time. You'll often see it kind of milling around the 200 to 300 mark. So it has its fans. All right, now here's one that we will have seen before. This is the Japanese first press of Hey Jude, the compilation that was released after the Beatles split up. Hey Jude, Revolution, Paperback Writer, Lady Madonna, Rain, etc. All the non-album tracks. But look what's in it. So this was released in Japan at the time. And it is, I'm just going to pull this out, the single of Hey Jude, backed by Revolution, which of course is on the album. But it is a single on translucent red vinyl. And it still has the original Apple sleeve. Can you see that? I think that is a very lovely piece indeed. And the fact that it sits in with the rather hard to find Japanese first press of Hey Jude makes that rather lovely. Okay. It's hard to describe this record as lovely. This is Tres Hombres, the third album by ZZ Top. And I'm going to show you this, which I think will start to give you a sense of why I'm quite excited about what we've got here. This is the US first press on the London Stereophonic label of Tres Hombres, ZZ Top. And it is in amazing condition. Look at that gatefold. It has been looked after, cared for like an egg. The only issue is a little dent just there in the corner. Other than that, that record is awesome. All right, now, 2 Prince records. One that I've had once before, and one that I've had nonce before. And the nonce before, never had this, is the Japanese first press of Prince's Sign of the Times. Look at that for a reveal. A little bit of tease. Double album. Many people consider this to be his masterpiece. The incredible title track amongst The Cross and many other things. This is something I've not had before, and I've only ever had this once before. You might recognize this record. This is a little known Prince record called Purple Rain, except it is on the most delightful translucent purple vinyl. Look at that. Purple Rain on purple vinyl. I'm trying to get that lined up. I think that is amazing. Beautiful thing. Sounds it's quite a dramatic sound. The Japanese did a pretty good job with their colored vinyl. And this record is a pretty sharp record anyway, and it is incredibly sharp on the purple vinyl. I now have what I consider to be 2 records by Shortcuts Royalty. These are bands that I've spoken about in the past, that I absolutely adore. They're records that are hard to find. I always encourage the folks in Shibuya to put them in the box if they have them. One is Aphrodite's Child 666. Crazy double album. And the other is Fire, Water, Earth and Air by Jane. Now I'm going to start with Jane. German kind of blues rock band, but they went more prog with this record, even though it's only about 34 minutes long. This record has some of the greatest guitar playing I have ever heard. And from start to finish, this is an album that I know plenty of you out there have grown to love as much as I have. Now, much as I love Fire, Water, Earth and Air, this record maybe even trumps it. Aphrodite's Child, Greek prog rock band, fronted by Demis Roussos, featuring Vangelis on electronics and wooziness. This is a full-on prog rock record devoted to the New Testament, particularly the Gospels, and particularly the visitation of Satan. And the highlight, of course the highlight, is the absolutely amazing 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. If you have never heard that song, set aside 5 minutes, turn up your headphones or your speakers as loud as you can and wait for the most blistering guitar solo I think has ever been put on wax. It is not a riff. This is, I think, I will never get the chance to ask this question, but if I was sat in front of, what do you call the guitarist from, his name's coming out of my mind, John Squires, the guitarist from Stone Roses, and I were to say to him, that solo that you played at the end of I Am the Resurrection, have you listened to the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse by Aphrodite's Child? Give you a sense of the type of noise that's there. All right, if you want something that's a bit more mannered and very 70s and very classic, what about this? The Joker, the Steve Miller Band, the Japanese first press with an amazing gatefold. And what's even better, it is the white label promo. Wonderful condition of the record that turned his career. He went from kind of blues to introducing a little bit more melodious pop and became a megastar. The title track of this alone, I think, is something like 500 million plays on Spotify. Pretty cool. All right, now I've got a few quickies to finish on. These are classics. I love this. This is Duane Allman, the story, what is it actually, an anthology. And it's got this incredible book that basically is the full history of the legendary Duane Allman. But what's even better is the track choice. Now, you get a really delightful gatefold again, and I think that insert is wonderful. But I mentioned track choice. So what about B.B. King? The track that he plays is actually a medley track that he plays with B.B. King. The guitar solo on Wilson Pickett's cover version of Hey Jude, delivered by Duane Allman as a session guitarist, is a thing of beauty. You've got Going Down Slow, Champion Jack Dupree, The Weight by the band, but in this case covered by Aretha Franklin with another amazing guitar solo. You've got Fenton Robinson, you've got Muddy Waters, and then on side the second disc, it's a double album, you've got the best of the Allman Brothers. That is wonderful. I know quite a few of you have grabbed this on the green Warner Brothers label. Sounds pretty spectacular as well. All right. Now, I don't get this very often. Elton's 7th record, and in many cases, it can be argued his best. Romeo Lies Bleeding, Candle in the Wind, Benny and the Jets, double album. We've got Queen's A Day at the Races, another just classic. If you don't have this, fill the gap on your shelf. And I will rave about this to the day I die. The Japanese press of The Song Remains the Same rescues this whole potential folly. It is such a weird live album. I can't even fathom the sheer mountainous volume of drugs that must have been consumed in the making of this record and the videos that go along with it. But I drop the needle on my Japanese copy and turn it up, and I am in a happy place. So, highly recommended, and pretty amazing value for money, those double LPs at the end. So there you have it. We have Aphrodite's Child. We have an amazing little extra that goes with the Beatles Hey Jude compilation, and some Purple Rain. I love it. As always, please leave your comments. Like, dislike, just let me know. It's always nice to interact with you all out there. And thanks again for watching. And I'll see some of you on Wednesday for the price list. If you have any questions, please let me know. Bye.